Hello, hello. I am Reverend Karen Lewis, and it is my joy to be here with all of you in this sanctuary that has been so beautifully prepared in consciousness for us to be together. And I am marveling at the synchronicities of today's reading, the pre-service meditation, how everything is coming together. How very, very blessed we are. And so grateful for you to be here to join us. Welcome to all of those who are here for the first time, for the 10th times, for the 100th time. Welcome, 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 welcome. Here we are in May, in our new season. Reverend Leslie opened the season up so beautifully last week, with her exploration of how can we mother ourselves. And you might remember that we have shared that this season, which is bookmarked by Mother's Day and Father's Day, is under the title of Being the Beloved. So it's all about how do we relate to one another? How do we relate to the divine? How do we relate in community? How do we relate to our beloveds? And today the talk title is Life of the Beloved. I don't know about you, but for me, April of 2020 was a challenging month. My beloved aunt passed away on the very first day of April, and the challenges just kept coming. They kept coming hard and fast. And I felt at times like a piece of wood on top of a very rough sea, just being tumbled around. And I was yearning to find a way to deepen, yearning a way into the stillness in the very center of my being. And it is there where I met Henry. Henry came into my life at a time where I was open to hear, open for someone, something to carry me over the threshold into the depth of where I was yearning to go. To make this talk today personal to each one of you, I am going to invite you to place yourself on this continuum over here. We're going to call this the place of separation, the place of fatigue, perhaps depression, of not knowing, and for feeling that life just comes at us hard and furious. And there's this long continuum, we find ourselves somewhere over here, and the other end of the continuum is a place that I like to call soft belly, open heart, calm mind. It is the place where I know who I am. It is the place where I am so connected to the divine, to the deep knowingness that who I am is the divine made manifest. So let's take a moment and place yourself somewhere on this continuum of needing to armor up and protecting ourselves because we can't bear to get hurt on that most vulnerable part of us, to opening up and saying yes, to surrendering, accepting, and being one with the divine. Henry came into my life with these words: our preciousness, uniqueness, and individuality are not given to us by those who meet us in clock time, our brief chronological existence, but by the one who has chosen us with an everlasting love, a love that existed from all eternity and will last through all eternity. You might know by the sound of these words that Henry is Henry Nouwen. the wonderful Dutch Catholic priest that was born in the 1930s and passed away in the 1996, I believe. His primarily way of exploring spirituality, faith, was through teaching, writing, and community. As a matter of fact, he taught for 10 years at Notre Dame and several other of the Ivy League schools, and then ended up living in a community that is designed to support the mentally challenged individuals. And that's where he lived for 10 years in Ontario, Canada. And if you know me, you know my yearning, my desire to create living in community. So Henry came into my life. I found this book that is actually called Life of the Beloved. And I couldn't put it down. I could not let go of it. Even though some of the language in that is a little unusual for me as a religious scientist. He speaks a lot about that God has taken us, has claimed us, that we are the beloved. In our teaching, we call that we are the light of the divine. There's nothing that can get in the way of us being that light of the divine. There may be times where that light is not very visible to us, but it's always there. And Sweet Spirit always knocks on the door, always pushes into us, waiting for us to open the door, to step in. I feel as if Henry picked me up and carried me over the threshold into this space where I realized that life is still coming at me with such ferocity, and yet I am so much more centered. I know who I am. And I like to propose that there can be a Henry for each and every one of us. It might be a piece of music that touches our hearts. It might be a book, a painting. It might be a beloved or a furry friend. Whatever it is that allows us to open up. Today we'll explore 3 of the points that Henry brought forth of how we can remember, especially in those times when darkness seems to be taking over our lives, how we can remember that we are the beloved, the chosen one, the light of the divine. And the first point that he offers is exactly that. Choose to remember in those moments of darkness that even though I don't feel it at the moment, there's a place within me that is light. I loved how it came up in the beautiful pre-service meditation that Jolene led us through, where she talked about this life of service, of giving. Whenever I forget, when I get tumbled on that surface, I remind myself and I ask myself, whom can I serve? For whom can I be the light even if I can't be the light for myself? There's always someone that benefits. And in return, we both benefit. Because a blessing is always for the giver and for the receiver. sometimes we have to start. Well, always we have to start right where we are, but sometimes it is in a very dark space. Sometimes we find ourselves so armored up, so protected, that even all the wonderful offerings that a New Vision Center has, for example, cannot reach us. Just yesterday, I talked with a beloved, and when we came to the point where I asked her for their prayer request, the answer was like, I think I need to have a prayer to even open up enough that I can receive. It touched my heart, that awareness that sometimes we have to pray for even being able to receive. And I vowed to myself to not forget that. To not forget that, especially during this time, where the level of anxiety, of angst, of challenges seems to have risen up quite a bit. I do not want to fall prey to saying, well, all of this is available, why don't you do that? And remember, when I was over here at that point where I couldn't receive, that it takes practice, spiritual practice, to open us up even enough to accept that we are the beloved, that we are the light. Breathe into that with me. Yeah. On these pages in this book, there's so many invitations to see that our work is to unmask this worldly experience where we are often confronted with very critical voices that come from the outside and that even seem to be resonating with those voices on the inside. And so, what would it take for us? What would it take for you to remember now that you are the light, that you are the beloved, that the divine has chosen internally ago, long ago? That there's nothing we can do to change that we are the desired one. The next thing that Henry invites us into is to continue to look for the people who speak our language, the places where we feel at home. For many of us, it's a New Vision Center. And if that is the case, where could there be another offering that would allow you to step in more? What could change on the outer? Or is it more a realization that something on the inner ought to change for me to receive all the good that is here? Because through all the time that I was having that experience of being pummeled by life, all of it was available to me. All the connections, the morning meditations, everything. Perhaps we can take a look at it as a scavenger hunt. When I lose contact with knowing that I am the light, maybe there's something that could click in that makes me curious to look through my life. Where do I feel uplifted, inspired? What helps me open up enough that I can even listen and hear the voice that is at the very center of my being all the time? What does it take? And of course, that answer is different for everyone. I love that we have seen the early results of the survey that we send out. And I love that we are encouraging everyone to please let your voice be heard. And in there, if you might recall, if you have already taken a look at the survey, the first question is, if there's one thing the New Vision Center could do for you, what would that be? What would that be? And what stood out for me when I looked at the early results is like the answers that speak to remind me of who I am. The realization that there's nothing we add to you, but that you are already whole, perfect, and complete. You are the light of the divine. You are the beloved. And what it takes then is for us to claim being the beloved. And that is what moves us on the continuum. And the third point is celebrate. Henry invites us to celebrate. I love how he talks about it. Celebration is really saying thank you, acknowledging the gift that this day is. With all its challenges, it is still the gift of life. He says, gratitude is the most fruitful way of deepening your consciousness that you are not accidental, but by divine choice. It is important to realize how often we have a chance to be grateful and not use them. When someone is kind to us, when an event turns out well, when a problem is solved, a relationship restored, a wound healed, there are very concrete reasons to offer thanks. However, precisely the same situation also offers us occasions to be critical, skeptical, even cynical, because when someone is kind to us, we can question his or her motives. When an event turns out well, it could have always turned out better. And when a problem is solved, there often emerges another in its place. And when a relationship is restored, there's always the question, for how long? And when a wound is healed, there still can be some leftover pain. So how can we remind us in those moments to choose gratitude, to choose to be thankful, to choose to acknowledge the good that has been given to us? One of the ways that I know is to be still. Before we get there, let's hear this quote by Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teaching, who says, "Unless we become the living embodiment of love and light, we shall have no justification in saying that God is love and light." So what that means is I have to be willing to trust life, the divine, enough to peel open the armor, to expose my heart, to move myself on this continuum so I can get to the place of a soft belly, open heart, and calm mind. So let us practice it. I've asked beloved Frank to play on the piano for 2 minutes. And for 2 minutes, we are going to just enter the stillness. Laying down anything that you have that has your attention at the moment. We just enter right here, right where we are. Just allow our breath to go even deeper, entering the stillness more and more. And as we continue to listen to this beautiful music, please repeat these words of truth. This wonderful prayer that is called the Maitri practice, where we allow the face of a beloved to rise up within us, someone that opens our heart. And we gently say, in our mind, may you be happy, may you be well, may you live with ease. Noticing how easy it is to bless a beloved. The practice invites us, after several minutes of this, to allow the face of someone who we are not loving to come into our awareness. It might be someone we're in conflict with, someone we see on TV. And with the same sincerity, offer the prayer. May you be happy. May you be well. May you live with ease. And after several minutes of practicing that, to allow the image of people we don't even know yet to just rise up. It might be a crowd of people. And with the same sincerity, bestow the blessing upon them. May you be happy. May you be well. May you live with ease. This practice opens our heart, moves us on the continuum from the armor towards the soft belly, open heart, calm mind experience that I believe we are yearning for. And so this is my invitation for this week. Whenever you think about it, whenever you find yourself with a few moments to spare, sit down, enter into the stillness, allow a face to come up within you, and bless that individual with this beautiful prayer. May you be happy. May you be well. May you live in ease. I am so grateful to be on this journey with you, this discovering of how we can serve one another. Thank you. And with that, I am inviting all of our practitioners and ministers of this beautiful teaching to please rise, stand with me, holding the space as I speak a spiritual mind treatment. How grateful I am. How very, very grateful to recognize that there is one life. That life is God's life, and that life is my life now. That life is our life now. It is sweet spirit making itself known through eternal loving kindness, eternal grace, eternal givingness. And how grateful I am to step into receivership of that truth, so that I can hold the space of receiving all that is given so generously. And as I step into this activity, I open the door for everybody, for we each are called to step into our receivership of the good. To receive that Spirit brings forth, love and light, peace, harmony, beauty, power, joy. Whatever quality we name it, we label it, it is always, always the divine that pushes forward, that says, I am here. I am right here. Use me. See me, hear me, be with me. How very grateful I am. As I recognized all prayer requests are an invitation for us to open our hearts to receive that what we are asking for. As we recognize that sweet spirit always says yes, that every prayer is answered. And so it is with a grateful heart, overflowing love, that I place this word into universal law, that I know that it is done, it is complete, as we let it be. And together we anchor this truth as we say, and so it is.